Hey guys, thanks for checking out the podcast. Before we get started, I want to remind you about the very cool bucket list trip I am doing in 2026, the Smitty Learns Irish podcast, where I'm going to do my bucket list, hike Ireland for a year, learn about Irish history, town by town, through the mouths of the pub owners and regulars. Because what's a better way to learn about something you love than to experience it yourself? Patreon.com/we3Smiths, only $3 a month, and thanks for checking it out.
Is that when you said blowjob on the radio?
like 10 times.
I'll tell you the story. I bought 3 microphones, but I didn't pay attention to what I was buying. So, it's a 3-pack. Oh, I have 9 microphones. What the hell am I going to do? Interview a baseball team? I'm tired of your fucking bullshit, you know what I mean? I'm tired of all of this nonsense that I just want no part of anymore. I'm going to do my own fucking thing. Fuck all of that. What the hell, everything?
And a super duper happy what the hell everything day. What day is it today? I have to always think about it. Monday, February 13th, 2023. Hey, what's going on? The What the Hell Everything podcast. My name is Smitty. Where I just got a bunch of stuff to ramble about, man. Things on my head, some things that happened in the world, in the country, and 420 break. Talk shit about some news stories as well as musical brain cramps. I had my brain cramp up on me while trying to comprehend music being played, so I'll share that. Also, Patrick Stewart is a goddamn genius. But first, I always like to kick off and I started to kick off the podcast with the word of the day. You just pull up the dictionary app, see what the word of the day is, and see if I can pronounce it. Okay? If you can pronounce it, you know what it means, the definition, how it's used in a sentence. Then I'd like to look up the origins, okay? Because that's just me. I appreciate that kind of thing. That being said, you guys, let's check out the word of the day. From my dictionary app, aorta, which I think, is that the largest vein? Or is that, the aorta is, what's the opposite of the vein? You know? It goes outward. Artery. I think it's an artery, right? Aorta. See definitions and examples. Do I got to pay for that shit? No, I don't. The main trunk of the arterial system. So it is an artery. Okay. It's the biggest artery. Oh, is it that one? Is it the neck? Is that the aorta? The neck artery right there? Conveying blood from the left ventricle of the heart to all of the body except the lungs. There you go. Now you try to work it practically into sometime in the podcast, which will never happen, you know, because I never ever remember to do it. Although I could write down some point in here. Aorta! With an exclamation point. Happy fucking day, man. The sun is shining. I have had a great 90-minute weed day workout on the elliptical today. I'm getting back on that horse, and the sun is fucking shining. Honestly, it's t-shirt weather. Like if you live in somewhere temperate, then this is called t-shirt weather. I think it's 41 degrees out, something like that. The sun is shining, though. Went outside a few times to smoke a bowl and had t-shirt on. I'm like, man, this is absolutely fantastic. What did I see that on the Great Lakes, which is right here, the ice has peaked. And they're like, then there's not much of it this year. Honestly, we had to have gotten the least amount of snow. And let me find something to fucking knock on here real quick. There's no wood near me. There we go. The wall. Because, man, I'm good with it, selfishly. Maybe global warming, maybe not. Hey, you never know, man. I'm not smart enough to say what it is one way or the other. I know that I'm a big fan of not having snow. I'm a big fan of not having cold. It's been pretty fucking cold a lot of times. And we got dumped on probably 3 times. Snow, we had that blizzard right around Christmas. And then like another pretty gnarly snowstorm, ice storm the other day. But there hasn't been much, man. I haven't seen anybody. I can never remember what lake I live right next to. There's 2 lakes in Cadillac, main ones, Lake Mitchell and Lake Cadillac. And I can't remember which one I drive by the shoreline to go do my laundry. But I don't see like any ice shanties. And if you're not familiar, there should be a bunch of fucking ice shanties out there. I'm not one of those people, but they're always out there. I haven't seen a lot, man. I've already heard of people falling through the ice and dying because that happens every year. It's, you'll never catch me out there, man. Anyway, it's nice out. It's nice out. It's just fucking nice out, you guys. The excuse me, Super Bowl last night. It's a good fucking game, man. I'm not going to go the route. I don't have a horse in this race. I wanted Kansas City to win, so who knows? Maybe the fact that I wanted Kansas City to win, because I like Patrick Mahomes a lot, and that motherfucker's good. I don't know if it has anything to do with, my perception of that holding call at the end where everybody lost their fucking mind. Pretty much everybody that wanted Philadelphia to win, even though they admitted it was a hold. Like it was ticky-tack probably. You probably could have called it at other times in the games. Maybe they didn't see it at other times in the games. Officials historically suck. But you're not going to get any fucking sympathy from me as a Lions fan who has historically, and I've seen a couple of like Lions fans, they're like, oh, I feel your pain as a Lions fan. I'm like, yeah, well, fuck off, because that just happens, Does it happen in the ratio of it happening to the Lions has to be greater than anybody else. But that being said, you'll get no sympathy from me. Like Major Payne said, you want sympathy, you look in the dictionary between shit and syphilis. Which, hey, we're also going to talk about today, another syphilis reference coming up. And it's a lot more fucked up than that joke. But the game was great, man. I didn't think I liked Jalen Hurts that much. To me, Jalen Hurts was always just like a college quarterback that was good, like fucking Tim Tebow or something, you know what I mean? You're not going to expect much of him out of the pros. Boy, was I ever fucking wrong. That dude's good, man. Patrick Mahomes, though. Like, I was trying to think. I watched the game. I actually stayed home from work because I had a bad fucking headache. And I took a nap just in time, and it was pretty much gone by the time, like, the first quarter ended. So, I was able to sit and watch the game. And, like, I watched the whole game, and I'm just like, you couldn't, if Kansas City wins, if Philadelphia wins, obviously Jalen Hurts is the MVP. But if Kansas City wins, then you can't give this fucking MVP to anybody else. Like, with a fucked up ankle, and I can relate to just the ankle thing. There's nothing else. I don't know why I said A. I can just relate to the shitty ankle thing because I've had fucking terrible high ankle sprains historically. I always say that my ankle is like a fucking noodle. Just a wet noodle just flopping around there, I've done a lot of work to try to strengthen it up recently just because it's been... I'll be sitting here like with my... And I don't know why I do this if it fucks my shit up, but sit... Not cross-legged, but with, I was trying to demonstrate, but you can't see my legs with the camera. With my one foot up over my knee. You know what I mean? So it's just resting there. And if I sit with it in the wrong way, my right ankle will just almost like, it feels like it's dislocating. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't do that anymore. So I've just been really trying to like work hard. Anyway, I totally relate to the shitty ankle thing. I was in the Army with a shitty ankle. I know what it's like to try to do shit with a shitty ankle. That being said, the fucking performance that guy pulled off, like nobody else could have been the MVP. Man, oh man, man. Man, oh man, 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 man. It was a great fucking game. But even then, I was thinking, what if it was the Lions in the Super Bowl? Because I was on record, talked with Ryan about it on the Lions chat that we do. And, if they would have been in the NFC Championship game, both of our feelings were that they could have pulled it off, man, if they were in the NFC Championship game against either Philadelphia or San Francisco. But I try to put it, if the Lions made it to the Super Bowl, would they have stood a fucking chance against Patrick Mahomes? I feel like they could have, and, who knows? But you think about that shit. As a Lions fan, this whole time, that whole game, I was just jaded and going, it should have been us. But it shouldn't have been, because they didn't deserve to be in there. That halftime show with the Rihanna, I gotta admit, man, I know Rihanna. I know who Rihanna is. She's the major pop culture figure. And I would hear clips of music, and I'm like, it's just not my thing, man. That was confirmed when I watched it. Just the overall musical genre of like poppy hip hop kind of thing. It's like poppy country. It just doesn't sit well, Just from a sonic standpoint, I'm like, and it's a generational thing. It has to be, a lot of, or at least in my case, maybe a generational thing where I'm just like, I like my rock and roll. I don't really want to step outside that for the most part, although I'm trying to do that. But I didn't hate it. Like, I saw a lot of people just take a dump on it. And I'm like, old white person on social media. I was like, old white person. I'm like, oh, there we go. And I was like, wait, am I agreeing with it? Because I don't like this performance? I actually made it a point to watch it because I was interested in seeing Rihanna's performance. I didn't know. I never really heard any of her shit before. But I just saw people fucking taking a dump on it. And I'm like, old white person. Then I saw my army buddy who's a black guy. He posted. Let me pull that up. Lame ass Rihanna got a bunch of sperm dancing. And boy, is that ever what it looked like. First of all, I just want to get into the music part. There were, I think the first song, I missed the first song, I think. And then the second one, I'm just like, no, it's just, I can't deal with it musically. I love looking at Rihanna. She is fucking smoking hot. Although pregnant, I didn't realize that. I saw a bunch of people post, she looks pregnant. I'm like, well, that's kind of shitty, but it turns out she actually is. But musically, again, a couple songs, I'm like, it just doesn't sit well. But there was a song or two that I was like, yeah, this is pretty fucking good. It wasn't a horrible show. The show was fantastic if you're into that kind of thing, Again, I'm not like I don't like choreography. Just fucking sing the song, man. Just play the song. I don't need to see a bunch of dancers. And I bet you there were 100 or 150 fucking dancers. And like she went up on this platform, it seemed like really high up into that stadium. It actually looked like it shook when I was like, oh my God, if she fucking falls and dies in this fucking Super Bowl, they're going to have to cancel this game. It's a shitty thought on my part. But other than that, like the show itself was pretty good. Like you might not like the music, but the show was pretty fucking good, I thought. I was down for that. For the most part, as a show. It was just music that I didn't give a fuck about. And people will say, oh, Metallica should do it. And that would be cool. That'd be rad. But they're the only rock band. One of the only rock bands. I think they had fucking Coldplay on one year or Maroon 5, and they're not a fucking rock band. But like, Foo Fighters could probably do it. Metallica could probably do it. Just to find a rock band that enough people fucking know anymore. But it wasn't that bad, Actually, for the most part, enjoyed it. I thought it was a good show if you're into that kind of thing. But I was sitting there for the most part, just like, it's not, it's not my thing. One single bit. You know what is my thing though? UFOs. And any time that I think it's not my thing, I'm not like a UFO chaser or a researcher. I just want there to be fucking UFOs, and I'm fascinated if I think there is. Like the last few Pentagon declassification videos and shit, pretty much. Am I 100% sold that those were UFOs? Were those fucking spheres that like went in the water in crazy directions and crazy speeds that you can't fucking explain in front of like Navy or Air Force pilots or whatever it was? I'm pretty sure those were UFOs. But these latest ones, first there was the Chinese water balloon, not the water balloons, the spy balloons. I said water balloons a bunch of times on the Talk Practice podcast I did Sunday mornings on Patreon. I did that yesterday. Kept saying water balloons like a fucking idiot. That would actually be really funny if they were Chinese water balloons. But they had shot down the Chinese water balloon. And then I just kept seeing all these things, and admittedly, like I don't fucking like follow a lot of news stories necessarily. I keep an eye on what's going on in the world, but I don't really investigate what's going on. But I kept seeing these, another object got shot down, another object got shot down. And then the latest one was pretty close, man. Somewhere over Canadian-Michigan border at the Lake Huron. And I'm like, well, that's close. But then here's the thing. They were describing it as an octagonal shape in this story. I think it was from the New York Times that I was reading. I'm like, well, that's different. But then I read there were strings hanging off of it. I'm like, if there's strings hanging off of it, it's probably not alien. It's probably just some fucking guy, Whoa. It's time for the 420 break, you guys. We're going to do that here in just a moment. But it's not fucking aliens. You know what I mean? It's not fucking aliens, you guys. It had strings on it. Time for 420 break. I don't know if you partake.
Should I be getting paid for this, boys? Water bomb so smooth you don't realize how high you're getting. Till it's too late. I am fucked up out here.
All right, your 420 break for February 13th, 2023. As I pull this up. Wait a second. There we go. There we go. I can do this now. Maybe. What's happening? What's happening? There we go. If you're not watching and listening on Spotify, then I'm just a dummy when it comes to switching cameras, apparently. Hey, 420 break. Just a few news stories to talk shit about. I don't necessarily mean to talk shit about babies with syphilis. But this is just the most classic example ever that there's a lot of people that are just okay being totally fucking uneducated. Usually in regions of the United States, or a lot of regions in the United States. Mississippi, hit by a 900% increase in newborns treated for syphilis. Former state health official said, this seems like something that should have happened 100 years ago, not last year. Yeah, no fucking shit, man. In the avoidable public health crisis, as they say, the rise in cases has placed newborns at further risk of life-threatening harm in a state that's already home to the nation's worst infant mortality rate. And if it's like that in Mississippi, it's got to be, again, it's worse in Mississippi, but there's other fucking states. What do you call that? The Bible Belt, where the only book they're reading is the Bible a lot of times. Not to knock any religious people, but this is fucking evidence that you'd probably need to read more things other than that. 2021, 102 newborns in Mississippi were treated for the sexually transmitted disease, up from 10 in 2016. Fucking weird how that works, right? As soon as you get rid of all sorts of, sex education talk. Weird. It's just fucking baffling. Again, not to talk shit about babies with syphilis, but Congenital syphilis occurs when the infection is passed from a mother to her child while she's pregnant. If untreated, a pregnant woman with syphilis has an 80% chance of passing it to her baby. I'm sure it's not, I don't want to assume who. I don't want to assume who. Let's just move on. This is fucking hilarious, man. Out of Cornwall, England. I had assumed this was in the United States when I pulled it up. But Cornwall, England. Fast food chain McDonald's had a bit of a mishap when it placed an ad for its McCrispy burger. Wait a minute, there's a McCrispy burger in fucking England? Do tell, because I thought it was a McCrispy chicken sandwich when I read this story initially. But I don't read stories all the way through at first, so that's what this is for. The McCrispy burger ad was next to a crematorium in the UK. They reported that the ad was present at a bus stop opposite the Penmount Crematorium in Cornwall, England. To make matters worse, or better as I say, the McCrispy ad was on full display right next to a sign pointing to the crematorium. Got a laugh out of some officials, but after it was shared by Cornwall Live, another woman whose family had to use the crematorium for her mother-in-law said, while some may find it funny, it's pretty tasteless. I disagree. It probably tastes pretty fucking good. By the way, we need to figure out, I need to go over there at some point. You know, that's part of my journey now when I go to Ireland, is to go to England and find the McCrispy burger. I'm sure some grieving family members won't like to see it when visiting Penmount for the funeral and cremation of a loved one. First of all, if it was a strategic effort by the McDonald's advertising team to put it next to the crematorium, it's still pretty funny, but still fucking harmless. You know what I mean? God, just fucking bunch of bitches, man. Just a bunch of bitches. This next story is pretty out of the box, smart and awful at the same time, because the United States, at least in the southern portion, where there's probably a lot of fucking babies with syphilis, pythons are taking over. Burmese pythons, I think specifically, as we're going to read down into this story, they're just taking over the fucking southern part of the United States, Florida, and moving upwards, you know. But there's a new way to fight the python infestation, because they're not allowed. It's hard to find these fucking things, you know. Possums with GPS collars. That's actually really smart. Even though they say heartbreaking in the story, it kind of is, because you have to give up the possum in order to find it. They implant fucking GPS into a possum, and then it gets eaten by the snake, and then they're tracked for months, and they can find them, they can kill them. So there you go. You should probably put them on your pets too, you know, because they're going to get scooped up. If they're going to get scooped up, they might as well contribute to the cause of finding these motherfuckers. You know, actually reminds me of a story. It's kind of, because I think it's kind of funny when pythons or other wildlife snatch your pets up, you know, because I think it's amusing to see nature work and to see people horrified by nature just doing its thing, you know. If it were my pet, I'd be devastated, of course. But it just reminded me of a story my buddy told me, and it's fucking hilarious. This is years ago when I worked at the radio station, very early on in my radio career. Buddy that I worked with left the radio station and got either, I don't know if he got interviewed or hired, but he got interviewed for sure at the main competing radio station, or at least one of the main competing radio stations. And the woman interviewing him, all she could do was bring up this instance on my show, in his interview, mind you, because she knew that he knew me. All she could do was bring up me and this story that I talked about. I think it was something along the effect of like Jessica Simpson's dog getting attacked by a coyote, and I laughed. And it just kept going and going, and she kept bringing it up. to the point where it was insinuated that I hate animals. And I'm like, that's not the fucking case. I love animals. I just like to see nature work, man. It's amusing to me. But it was just, and I'm like, well, I could actually remember. I don't remember that story, but I could see myself laughing at that. It's similar to when I read a story on the air one time about in northern Michigan, an owl took off with somebody's dog, and I was just like, Barr. It was funny. Next on the 420 break. Mullet streaker belly flops into pond at Pro Golf's greatest show on grass before he's arrested. I didn't see any video of this. There is video of this. Oh, I could have done this earlier. I'm not set up to do that right now, to have you watch this goodness with me, but let's just watch it together. Anyway, because it'll be fun. I want to watch this guy belly flop, this streaker at this fucking golf tournament. Just dancing with the pole. Just dancing with the pole. Is he going to do a belly flop? Is he going to do a belly flop? He is mulleted like a motherfucker. Oh, yeah, his butt's showing for sure. No way I could show this. This is at the Phoenix Open. The Waste Management Phoenix Open. What a company to have their name on your fucking golf tournament. Now the security's chasing him, and it doesn't show him belly flopping, so that is very misleading, actually. That's why you're supposed to pre-read, but, you know. We don't need to. But look at this guy. I can show this fucking thing right here. Look at this doggone guy. Let's try. Let's try. Let me try. Like, that's special, man. You know? That's definitely special. All right, next on the 420 break, and this is last. And this is not anything to talk shit about. It's actually a nice story. I like ending the 420 break with a feel-good story. Somewhere in Michigan, this fine state, White Lake Township, a woman who walks to work more than 2 miles every day says even though she could have used the money, she knew that when she found nearly 15 grand in a plastic bag, she needed to give it to the police. She was walking home on January 21st, stopped at a BP gas station to buy a snack. When she was walking, she saw a plastic bag on the ground with a bunch of money in it. So she called the cops, which is probably the right thing to do, right? Even in her situation, when they searched the bag, they found close to 15 grand in there with several wedding cards. They were able to track down the money and who it belonged to, and they figured out, oh, okay, it's a newlywed couple that had just been married earlier that day. So, you know, this woman who has to walk to work every day does the right thing. And this is one of the great things about the internet. You know, one of the great things about the internet that people can use it for is to raise money for other people and to get the word out. And since her good deed, and because it wasn't overlooked, they did a crowdfunding campaign and raised just about 15 grand, almost, and the goal is 2,500. The campaign is going to work with a car dealer to get her a new car. I just thought that was really nice, man. Somebody who didn't have the means to get to work gave the money back, and then, honestly, the internet really helps kind of pay it forward. In a lot of ways that you couldn't do before, and I thought that was pretty cool. All right, that is your 420 break. Eat some Doritos, chill out, get your ass back to work.
Hey, old man, I got the fucking munchies real bad. How about you?
Hey. Smoke weed every day.
I did it again. Turn that off, Smith. There we go. That was terrible looking. Decided I was going to try to do the musical chairs on the live video with the 420 break and just jump into Studio B in the green screen to do the 420 break. And it pretty much worked. Just a few fucking hiccups that you would totally expect from me. One thing that I wanted to get to, and I thought this was fucking fantastic, is when I can't comprehend how somebody is playing music. In this case, 3 people, but they're sharing instruments. Okay, this is simply titled Musical Brain Cramp. Musical Brain Cramp. If you follow any, especially like my reaction videos or anything like that, music is very mathematical to me. And it's hard for me to grasp. As I say all the time, I can't math, and music is very mathematical. So a lot of times I'm sitting there trying to figure out what awesome is, how they're doing this awesomeness, and my brain can't comprehend it. And this is times infinity. I actually saw this post on my favorite podcast, the only one I'm binge watching right now, and that's our binge listening. That's We the Irish, and they are, you know me for any length of time now. You know I'm going down Irish rabbit holes. I'm soaking in Irish history and Irish music, all geared up for my trip in 2026. So I happened to find this on their post. This is an Irish music performance. It's probably, I would think, a minute and a half long. And again, if you're listening on Spotify or something rather than watching the video, I'll narrate this the best I can. But it's fucking crazy. It's subtitled in Irish, which I'm going to learn, maybe, hopefully.
You've got to guess who is playing what. Barney and John are going to switch hands. And when they are drunk, they get this perfectly. When they're sober, which they are now, we're not so sure. So cross yourself and hope for the best. It's called the octopus jig.
I wish I could pause this, but essentially, the guy on the bottom, for lack of a better word, is playing the banjo with his right hand. With his left hand, he is playing the fiddle. The guy coming in from the top is bowing the fiddle with his right hand and playing the banjo, the fret hand, with his left hand. And not to mention, this guy comes in with a flute and hands it to the guy on top. And then I don't know what the fuck. This is honestly, I'm blown away. I'm like, how are they working in tandem like this? I know it's muscle memory when you get to that point. You know what to do with your left hand. You know what to do with your right hand. It's probably easier than I'm making it if you can play music.
You used to say, you ain't seen nothing
brain
yet.
cramp, man. How is it?
Now,
I'm just trying to comprehend.
You've got to watch this as well as listen to it. You've got to guess.
Commented on the original post. I'm like, my brain cramped up.
Barney and John are going to switch hands. And when they are drunk, they can get this perfectly. When they're sober, which they are now, we're not so sure. So cross yourself and hope for the best. It's called the
I have no idea who these people are. It sounds fun. It looks cool. Oh, it's called Octopus Jig, by the way, which makes total fucking sense. I don't understand this. How it's like, you know how somebody can sing and play guitar at the same time? That to me is always fucking baffling. James Hetfield or something like that. This is times infinity. Man. I feel like I've seen it all. But of course somebody's gonna. Oh, dude, no, you gotta watch this. And I probably will. Hey, that was fucking fun. Brain cramps. Musical brain cramps. I thought that was worth including because I watched that shit and I was just like, I can't. I think my brain actually hurt. Maybe I didn't smoke enough weed, or maybe I smoked too much weed. You never know. Hey, people chiming in on the live stream. I want to say hello. Thank you for coming in, Zach and Sonny. So thank you. Yes, we must know about McCrispy burgers. Absolutely. Maybe not Python burgers. Although I would eat a python burger. I've eaten snake before. Rattlesnake. Real quick, I wanted to talk about I want to talk about the LeBron James breaking the NBA scoring record for a specific reason because I thought it was funny. Congratulations to LeBron James, obviously. He's one of the most talented players of all time. I personally would never put him above Michael Jordan because I watch Michael Jordan play as well as watch LeBron play his whole career. And that's my eye test. That's all I'm saying. But still a great achievement. But the reason I bring it up is because I saw, I think a meme posted, and it was LeBron when he did his fadeaway and it drained it to win the scoring title. And all of the crowd is in the background of the shot, you know. Everybody had their phone out, except for one guy, this old guy. I talked earlier about like old people fucking just hating things. You know, we'll get to the Pro Bowl in a second. Just old people hating things. This is kind of the opposite of that. In a way. Not really. Because old people hate recording things with their phone. I am one of those people too. If I'm at a show or a concert, I don't want any part of having my fucking phone out anymore. I did it a few times because I thought you were kind of supposed to. But now I just like to fucking soak it in, man. But I was thinking, because the meme was making fun of this guy as the only guy in the room to not have his phone out. I'm like, that's something to be commended. You know, because I've done both things. I know that it feels better to live in the moment, you know, especially in the LeBron James case, because there were already fucking cameras everywhere recording it. Why do you need your shitty fucking shaky cell phone footage to prove that you were there? I don't know, man. Put your phone down. You know, it feels much better at a show or whatever. You know, plus if you have your phone up in front of my fucking face, man, that's annoying. But the Pro Bowl, old people hating things, new things. They did like a skills competition for the Pro Bowl, for the NFL. And, you know, I remember they did this back in the day where they did skill competitions between players. But, like, I had it up at the bar, and there were a few people that were just like, what the fuck is this nonsense? Like, spinning catches and acrobatic football catches, you know? Amon-Ra St. Brown from the Detroit Lions was the winner of that. And I'm just like, they were like, this is stupid. And then the actual game was a flag football game, and there was more, this is stupid. And I'm just like, but the Pro Bowl before was stupid. Nobody watched it. Why? There's way too much risk of like catastrophic injury for those players on a game that doesn't mean anything, you know, especially if you're like holding up and not playing hard, but you're still making contact. That's really asking for fucking injuries. And it was I thought it was a really fun, cool, inventive way. Plus I watched Peyton Manning pretty much do anything, and he was the coach mic'd up, and it was fun. I didn't really watch a lot of it because I didn't really care about it. But I bet that added a little more enjoyment for me to watch it from like just the flag football perspective. I'm like, I'm never watching the Pro Bowl. I remember I tried watching it when like Barry Sanders and all my favorite Lions were in it back in the 90s. And I'm like, this is stupid. All my favorite players, they're barely even getting a ball, man. This is ridiculous. All right. I want to talk about Patrick Stewart just because he's one of my favorite people. Okay, this is simply entitled, Patrick Stewart is a goddamn treasure. If you are listening on Spotify or your other favorite podcast platform rather than watching on YouTube, I highly suggest checking this video out regardless. It is simply Patrick Stewart in a cowboy getup. And I have to say, TikTok is not my preferred social media by far. The format, I'm just not a fan. I don't like how you open it up and it just fucking blares shit at you. It's not really what I want in my life. I'm pretty blaring sometimes, but you got to pick your spots. But every once in a while on TikTok, you get gems like Patrick Stewart singing fucking raw.
Keep rolling, rolling, rolling. Oh, the streams are swollen.
Again, for everybody listening rather than watching, he's cowboyed up, man, with fucking green screen cows going in the background. And if there's one thing I love Patrick Stewart, it is that he is absolutely has no fucking shame. He will do a lot of things that most people would find embarrassing, and I appreciate that shit in a person. How old is he? Is he in his 80s now, Patrick Stewart?
Wishing the gal was by my side.
Is he in his 80s? Aren't you guys happy I played you that? You have to be I don't know if you have to be a fan of Patrick Stewart to appreciate that, because I love that shit. But I'm a Patrick Stewart fan, man. I need to catch up on Picard is what I need to do. I think I watched the first, 2 episodes of Picard, the first season. And then I left alone of all reasons because I'm like, there's swearing in Star Trek, and I don't like it. Of all the people, that would be opposed to swearing, you got to put some things in, or at least I have, put things in my acceptable box of where things shouldn't go. But now that I'm opening my rock and roll mind and the rest of my mind, you never know, man. Patrick fucking Stewart. Anyway, he's a treasure. So hope you enjoyed that. Right. I'm fighting a sneeze right now. I just sneezed off camera a few seconds ago, and I'm fighting another one. Good thing about it, I'm about to end this podcast. What else did I want to mention? Anything else I wanted to mention? Of course, all the other stuff I'm doing, man. The Rock Radar reaction videos. I'm about to hit up a Devin Townsend album for Patreon. Full album reaction. A live set this week. I don't know what it'll be, but it'll be recorded this week. Kind of changing my schedule around, just trying to find a way to maximize all of my time to do all this podcast shit, So I'm essentially I'm going to record all of my reactions and movie reactions and other stuff and this podcast. So on days I don't work at the casino when I'm bartending. On days that I work, I will edit and upload, So I'm trying am I having a stroke? I'm trying to change the schedule around a little bit, but it'll actually, I feel like, really maximize the amount of output I can put out and efficiency. And I kind of figured out a couple little quality upgrades in video and things. So I'm pretty happy with how everything's going. And everybody, especially a couple people chiming in, man, Zach and Sonny, are fucking awesome for coming on and checking out the live stream podcast. If you are as well, thank you. And even if you're not, you're listening, whatever, man, please consider liking and subscribing and following the journey. Patreon, Sunday morning talk practice, all that stuff, as well as full album reactions, movie reactions, all that thing. Different tiers for different things, So that does it for me. I am getting the fuck out of here and go smoke that bowl. Peace out.
So long, sucker.
Good night, everybody!
I am so sorry for everything that has happened.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, all right. I'll see you guys there.
By the bar and get your face, huh? Get me paid, bitch!
Sit, boo-boo, sit. Good dog.
I love y'all very much. Peace out!
Good night, ladies.